Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Leo showed up suddenly after being missing for 8 years, with a pregnant woman in tow. He looked at me casually and said, "Amy, let's get a divorce." He didn't know that 3 years ago, the court declared him legally dead. His father had passed away and left all his assets to my daughter, Cindy. As her guardian, I managed the company. I had remarried. When I saw him at my door, I stood there stunned for a whole minute. Leo, missing for 8 years, had his back to me, seemingly fiddling with the door lock. The woman with him, who was visibly pregnant, saw me and quickly tugged on his sleeve. Leo turned his head and asked her something with a smile. She whispered a reminder, and then Leo turned around. The moment he saw me, the warm look in his eyes turned cold. We didn't say a word. The atmosphere was tense and oppressive. Leo was the first to speak, and to my surprise, it was with a questioning tone. "Amy, why did you change the password? The house password used to be our wedding date." I scrutinized his face. 8 years had passed and he had matured, but his eyes still held an arrogant innocence. He was still handsome, but his complexion and skin looked rough, and his ill-fitting clothes didn't show any brand. Clearly, he wasn't living well. The woman timidly tugged on Leo's sleeve again. Leo held her hand, clearly trying to comfort her. He was the mature and handsome man, while she was the innocent, delicate woman, a perfect match. If I were someone who had been waiting for their husband for 8 years, I'd be heartbroken now. But luckily I wasn't. This house originally belonged to Leo. I frowned slightly but stepped forward and entered the new password to open the door. Leo watched me enter the numbers and frowned. 210909, what date is that? Of course he didn't know. It was the day of my second wedding. Leo and I had a business marriage. We were childhood friends and he was only a few months older than me. At 22, as arranged by our parents, we got our marriage certificate and held a grand wedding. A year later I was pregnant. But before the baby was born, Leo went missing. Walking into our marital home 8 years later, Leo seemed momentarily dazed. When he saw the inside of the house, he immediately frowned. "Why is it so messy? Not even a maid around? Amy, is this how you manage the house when I'm not here? Where's the kid? He should be out of school by now. Why aren't you picking him up?" His presumptuous tone made me laugh. The woman seemed very interested in the house, rushing inside to check it out, moving around as if she owned the place. "Mr. Leo," I said lazily, standing at the door, "do you even know if your child is a boy or a girl?" He looked at the woman, his expression softening. "Boy or girl? I like them both." I almost laughed in anger. "I mean our child." He was momentarily at a loss, then said righteously, "You can afford to raise 2 kids. Why are you still angry with me? Sarah naturally loves kids and will take good care of him. Unlike you, always so profit-driven and cold-hearted." I laughed out loud. "Do you know, legally speaking, you're already dead?" Leo's face changed. "Amy, I know you're upset I took so long to show up, but you can't say things like that." The woman immediately added, "I know you have resentment, but Leo has suffered a lot over the years. You can't treat him like this no matter how angry you are." I opened my phone's photo gallery and showed him a picture. It was a death certificate. "Look at the situation clearly. You died 3 years ago, Leo." The words on the white background made Leo's pupils constrict, but he quickly reacted, insisting, "Amy, what kind of tantrum are you throwing?" I laughed even more heartily and then turned to the woman leaning on Leo's arm, glaring defiantly at me. "Leo, who is this?" Leo was stunned for a moment, then turned to look at the woman. His previously icy and impatient face melted into warmth. He gazed at her lovingly and said, "Amy, you and I were a mistake. Meeting Sarah made me realize I never loved you. I truly love Sarah." I cut him off impatiently. "I was just asking for her name." The woman spoke softly. "I'm Sarah." I nodded. "Are you pregnant?" Sarah's eyes immediately started to well up. "I know it's hard for you to accept that Leo and I are having a baby, but Leo and I are truly in love. Amy, the one not loved is the mistress. It's our child who will be born into a loving family." I listened expressionlessly and then asked, "So you're saying my child with Leo was forced on him?" Leo, I never thought your heart was so cold while your body was so warm that you could still conceive a child with me. That's terrifying. Leo's face turned beet red and he quickly comforted Sarah. Sarah, don't listen to her. I didn't know what love was until I met you. Sarah, I only love you. Everything I have belongs to you and our child. Trust me. Sarah collapsed into Leo's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. They clung to each other as if the world only held the two of them. As the unwanted third wheel, I let out an untimely laugh. Leo glared at me and demanded, Amy, Sarah's pregnant and crying like this and you can still laugh? I looked surprised. Why shouldn't I laugh? It's not like I got Sarah pregnant. Oh, right. I turned to look at Sarah and said sincerely, Miss Sarah, I honestly suggest you keep a close watch on Leo. When I was 8 months pregnant, Leo just disappeared. I thought he was dead and 8 years later he shows up. I'm really curious, does he think he's a rooster leaving seeds and then moving on to the next? Sarah instinctively looked at Leo, who quickly explained to her, Don't believe her. Then he turned to glare at me, shouting, Amy, you wicked woman. You just can't stand seeing me and Sarah happy, can you? I leaned against the door frame. Of course. Which wife can watch her husband parade around with his mistress right in front of her? Leo yelled, Amy, I never knew you were so venomous. What mistress? Sarah is the one who should have been my wife. I'm telling you, I'm here to divorce you. Well, you came back for nothing. I raised my hand, showing the diamond ring on my left ring finger. Legally, once someone is declared dead, the marriage is automatically dissolved and the spouse can remarry. So you don't need a divorce. Leo looked disappointed. Amy, how did you become like this? Why are you showing me a fake ring? It won't change anything. The only person I love is Sarah. I felt disappointed too. After all these years, you're still the same, never understanding what people say. Right then, the sound of screeching car brakes came from outside. Running in were not just the lawyer I expected, but also my current husband. He hugged me urgently, checking me over. Are you okay? Did that jerk hurt you? Leo looked shocked, glancing between us, and then almost angrily said, Oh, Amy, is this Steve? When did you two get together? Did he really think I was head over heels for him to the point of waiting for him all these years? Show some respect, we're legally married. Steve hugged me tighter, holding my hand up. Our rings matched exactly. Leo looked devastated. With red eyes, he muttered, No way. How could you be so heartless? Suddenly, he remembered something and anxiously asked, What about my son? Amy, you didn't give my son his last name, did you? I sneered. What are you thinking? Leo sighed in relief. I continued, Of course, our child has my last name. Leo was stunned. Sarah timidly said, Amy, how could you be so inconsiderate? Giving the child your last name makes Leo lose face. I laughed. Why should the child I gave birth to have Leo's last name? Sarah retorted, That's not right. Leo's a man. Without him, you couldn't have had a child. I scoffed. There are tons of men in this world. I don't need just one Leo. Leo fumed. You worthless woman. I can't believe I never realized how promiscuous you are. Calmly, I replied. I figured out long ago that you're as dumb as a rock. Steve couldn't help but intervene. Cindy's a girl. A sweet, well-behaved girl. Hearing that, Leo relaxed a bit. Magnanimously, he said, It's not a big deal if a girl takes the mom's last name. But Amy, the family business still needs a son to inherit it. If you're really that upset, we don't have to get a divorce. Sarah's likely to have a boy, and we can place his name under yours and give him the company's inheritance. Sarah turned pale, shrieking, Leo, what are you saying? Leo glanced at her sternly. Sarah, listen. Steve and I exchanged a glance, struggling to suppress laughter. Did Leo still think I was joking? After a long pause, the lawyer couldn't help but ask, Amy, may I start? Leo recognized the longtime company lawyer and relaxed a bit. He turned to me. Why have him here? Amy, I said, let's compromise. I won't divorce you if you change our daughter's last name to Lynn. With utmost courtesy, Lee responded, You misunderstand. Amy didn't call me here for a divorce. I'm here to revoke your death declaration. Moreover, your assets need to be returned from your inheritors. Silence fell. Leo's eyes widened, filled with helplessness. He shouted, What are you all talking about? Declared dead? My parents would never agree. Where's my dad? Give me a phone. I need to call him. Lee remained courteous. Your father passed away 3 years ago. After Leo disappeared, I immediately reported it to the police. That morning, he went to work as usual. When his assistant called me, I found out he never made it to the office. His assistant and I searched everywhere he could have possibly gone and asked all his relatives and friends, but found no trace of him. When Leo went missing, my first thought was kidnapping. His parents and I waited anxiously for a ransom call that never came. In the end, we decided to go to the police. They checked all the security footage near our home. Once Leo left our gated community, he never appeared on any other cameras. It was like he vanished into thin air. A month after he went missing, we offered a reward. The huge bounty drew a lot of attention and even trended online multiple times. But still, we got no useful leads. Back then, I was 8 months pregnant but still working. After this happened, Leo's parents insisted I stop. They were ready for the worst and started looking forward to what could be their only grandchild. Leo's father, who was semi-retired, returned to the company to take back control and handle Leo's work. I never considered abortion. At 8 months, it wasn't even possible. Given the relationship between our families, having a child as a link wasn't a bad thing. More importantly, I was also looking forward to the child. Not just their company needed an heir, but so did we. Since the day we married, it was predetermined that our child would inherit everything from both families. Eventually, I gave birth to a daughter. They no longer cared if it was a boy or a girl and named her Cindy as they looked lovingly at her tender little face. I didn't object at that time. Leo broke down. He pulled the lawyer to his father's grave and cried his heart out. We followed behind. Leo's mother rushed over upon hearing the news and stood not far away, her eyes red. Mom, Leo, seemingly realizing his deep regret, clung to his mother's leg and cried bitterly. Sarah looked at the mother and son, visibly uneasy. Steve and I stood at the back holding hands. Steve whispered. Cindy wanted to come see her biological father, but I didn't agree. I smiled. Jealous. Steve glared at me in defiance. I just didn't want to scare her. Leo used to be like a madman. I shot him a look saying nothing. After the mother and son had cried their hearts out, Leo's mother grabbed Leo's collar, tears streaming down her face, and questioned him. So, where have you been for all these years? Leo's crying ceased. Feeling it was hard to explain, he said, Mom, don't ask. Of course I'll ask. Leo's mother, overcome with emotion, pulled Leo up from the ground. You vanished for 8 years. 8 years. You don't look like you had an accident. Why didn't you send us any message? If it wasn't for your dad's unwillingness to let Amy wait in vain, she'd be heartbroken to see you bringing a pregnant woman back now. Leo weakly argued. But she remarried. She wasn't really waiting for me. His mother slapped him. Lee whispered to me. The assets are ready to be returned to Leo at any time. I nodded. I've always prepared for the possibility of Leo's return. I managed his assets separately, and they've doubled in 8 years. His assets have a part that belongs to my daughter, so it's necessary to handle this properly. Leo's mother, shaking with rage, shouted. What right do you have to say that? She took care of us and raised your child alone for 8 years. And you? You didn't even show up at your father's funeral. It was Amy who arranged everything. Where the hell were you? Leo stammered, and Sarah finally couldn't hold back. She rushed forward, knelt before Leo's mother, and bowed deeply. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Leo actually took me abroad. Finally, I pieced together the truth about Leo's disappearance from their disjointed words. 8 years ago, when I was pregnant, Leo met Sarah and was deeply impressed by her kindness and frailty. They quickly got involved with each other. Leo knew that no one would agree if he wanted a divorce. Conveniently, his company was facing difficulties, and the immense work pressure was suffocating him. My pregnant, changing body and irritable temper repelled him. After much contemplation, Leo secretly transferred a significant amount of assets abroad. Then he and Sarah planned to evade surveillance, dispose of anything that might expose his whereabouts, and boarded a concealed van. To cover his tracks, Leo chose to illegally sneak out of the country, while Sarah flew out with her passport. After months of evasion, Leo finally reached Sarah's country. Sarah had a tourist visa. To stay there and evade family responsibilities, they lived in hiding. But with money, their life was still somewhat comfortable, and their relationship was good. Until recently, Sarah found out she was pregnant despite using contraceptives. A year ago, their money ran out and they had to start working to get by. But now, Leo couldn't bear to let their child born out of true love suffer. He figured that with the child, he could coerce me into a divorce. So they took a flight back home. Leo's mother, trembling with fury, screamed, "So you abandoned your aging parents and pregnant wife because of this woman and your so-called stress? You unfilial scum." Leo couldn't lift his head, weakly arguing, "Amy gave birth to a girl anyway. It's useless. Mom, Sarah is definitely having a boy. I'll marry Sarah and have the child. I'll go back to the company. I promise I'll work hard and run the company well this time. You can stay at home and take care of the child with Sarah." "Shut up." Leo's mother violently interrupted him. "We only have Cindy as our child. She's not part of my family." Leo dismissed it. I laughed and signaled to Lee. Lee understood, presenting the asset list. "Leo, please have a look. This is your current asset list." Leo eagerly took it, smiling at Sarah. "Don't worry, I can support you and the baby." But as he read through, his smile faded and his face turned more sour. "Is this all? Where are the Lynn shares? Didn't my dad leave me anything?" He turned angrily to me. "Did you take my shares that my dad left?" I smiled at him. "Mr. Lynn, get it straight. You are legally dead. How could your father leave shares to a dead man?" In the 5th year of Leo's disappearance, his father fell seriously ill. Leo left a mess behind. Though his father asked for my help, he was still wary of me, taking care of everything himself. He worked himself to exhaustion and soon fell ill. With Leo missing, the asset distribution became complicated. Lots of people eyed Lynn's assets. In the end, Leo's father made a decision. This dying man spent the last moments of his life arranging his son's death. After much coordination, Leo was legally declared dead by the court. His assets were divided into 4 parts. For his parents, me, and my daughter. After completing this, Leo's father wrote a will and passed away with regret. In the will, he left everything to his granddaughter, with Leo's mother as her legal guardian. Leo's mother didn't understand business, so all the power fell into my hands, including Leo's inheritance. Leo's assets were mostly real estate and cash, totaling billions but with few company shares. His father hadn't managed to pass them on to him. I knew Leo's father actually still hoped Leo was alive, but given the circumstances, he had to make such a choice. According to the law, if Leo returns, his assets are still his, while Leo's father's assets are already my daughter's. Leo can't get a dime. My daughter has always been with me, so even if Leo returns, custody will likely still be mine. So, I didn't refuse to let Leo into our marital home. It was his house originally. Not long after Leo's father died, I changed my daughter's name to Cindy. Leo's mother, being sensible and understanding, did not oppose it. She continued her carefree life, happily accepting the hefty alimony I sent her monthly. My daughter quite liked this straightforward grandmother. 3 of us got along well. Though some people were suspicious of me, I was the perfect victim all along. The police found no flaws in my story. My in-laws, knowing my character, never doubted me. Leo was practically losing his mind. What does a little girl need shares for? Dad, are you out of your mind? He was almost about to cry at the grave, but Leo's mother stopped him coldly. He's dead. What are you pretending for? Mom, I didn't know Dad died. I really didn't know. So what if you knew? Would you come back from miles away to fight for an inheritance? Leo's mother scoffed. If she had any pity for her son before, she withdrew all her feelings once she learned the truth about his disappearance. Leo, with red eyes, looked at his mother pleadingly. Mom, I'm your son. Can't you show any pity? Leo's mother laughed. Leo's eyes lit up, but she continued. You know whether you care about your dad or his money. When you left, your father and I were already 60 years old with little time left. You dumped everything on us and left without a care. You didn't care whether we lived or died. Why should we care about you? As a son, you're unfilial. As a husband, you're heartless and ruthless. As a father, you're utterly inhuman. Leo's mother looked at him with disgust. I only regret giving birth to someone like you. Leo was struck by lightning. Sarah cried and kowtowed. Auntie, you can't say that about Leo. It's all my fault, all my fault. Lee, who had been quietly listening, whispered in my ear. Leo might be guilty of bigamy, illegal immigration, and money laundering. But you don't really want him jailed, right? I nodded. Not enough evidence yet. Take your time collecting it. First, let's revoke his death declaration and help these two star-crossed lovers get married. Let them enjoy a few good days. Oh, and don't forget to deduct my asset management fee and Cindy's child support from the money we return. Steve was delighted. I love how sly you are. Leo started pestering me again. Compared to Leo's massive assets, the little bit he had left was pitiful. He seemed to want to remarry me or fight for Cindy's custody to regain Leo's assets. The next day, when I picked up Cindy from school, I saw Leo at the gate. When he saw me, his face twitched, but he finally humbled himself and approached. Amy, I'm sorry. I responded lazily. Leo, encouraged, continued. I asked around, you and Steve don't have kids yet. I won't hold a grudge against you for abandoning me. Cindy needs her dad. Divorce him, and we can get remarried. I smiled and asked, what about Sarah? Seeing me smile, Leo thought he had a chance and quickly said, I said we could register her child under your name. I won't let her bother you. Heritage should go to a boy. Once we transfer his shares to me, we'll eventually pass them and our estate to our son. The little brother will take good care of his sister. I grinned. Leo, your face must be stretchy enough to wrap around the world by now. Leo was stunned. I waved to the girl behind him. Leo, feeling saved, quickly turned around and said eagerly, Cindy, is it? Cindy, I'm your dad. You must miss me a lot, right? As he went to hug her, the girl quickly backed away. Leo thought she was shy and said patiently, Cindy, don't be afraid. I'm your dad. I asked from behind him. And where's Cindy? Leo's movements froze, and quickly dodged Leo and ran to me. Cindy is on duty today, she'll be here soon. Isn't Cindy's dad Steve? When Leo disappeared, and was only a few months old and naturally didn't recognize him. To her memory, Cindy got a dad when she was 5. Leo forced a smile and asked, Amy, this is? Don't call me that, I said without looking up, stuffing a bill into Anne's hand. And did this bad uncle scare you? Go buy yourself a treat to get over it, and we'll go home when Cindy comes out. Cindy and Anne were classmates, and my cousins and I took turns picking them up for convenience. As I had things to do in the morning, my cousin dropped them off, but it was my turn to pick them up in the evening. Leo murmured, Sorry, I haven't met Cindy. Well, Cindy doesn't know you. She only needs one dad, my husband, I calmly stated. Leo was furious. Amy, you need to show some respect. Cindy just hasn't met me. Once she does, she'll be all over me. I'm her real dad. I couldn't be bothered with him, and ran back quickly, holding 2 cotton candies. She handed me one along with some change. This is for Cindy. Leo found a new topic. Cindy likes cotton candy? And shook her head as she opened the car door and sat inside, happily taking a bite of her cotton candy. No, but we always buy 2 of everything at home. One for me and one for Cindy. Cindy doesn't like cotton candy, so she gives hers to me. That way I get 2. And is older than Cindy, but Cindy acts more mature. When they stand together, Cindy seems like the older sister. I smiled and ruffled Anne's hair. Auron is so clever. Cindy finally came out. The moment Leo saw her, he was stunned. Cindy is a smart kid. She perfectly inherited the best traits from both Leo and me. She stands out with her striking appearance and calm, composed demeanor among the other kids. After all, she is the future successor to both Leo and Amy. I was very pleased. Leo recognized her at once and stammered, This is Cindy, right? I ignored him. Cindy saw Leo and paused for a moment, then walked over slowly and handed me her backpack. She asked politely but distantly, Are you my biological father? Leo was so nervous he didn't know where to put his hands. Do you know about me? Cindy replied politely. Seeing is believing. Leo's face lit up only to hear Cindy continue. But seeing you is worse than not seeing you. Leo was immediately flustered. Did your mom tell you something, Cindy? Don't just listen to your mom. You don't know all the. Cindy interrupted. I heard you want my mom to give you and another woman's child my company and her company too? Cindy spoke calmly and smiled at Leo as she finished. Under her clear and pure gaze, Leo seemed to realize his guilt. He quickly said, girls should be pampered. I just want to make your life easier. Leave the tough, dirty jobs to your brother. Cindy tilted her head. I don't want to manage the company. We can hire professional managers. We can find people to help. Why should I give my stuff to an outsider? Leo feebly argued. How is your brother an outsider? Cindy answered firmly. Because I don't want to acknowledge you. Leo was completely dumbfounded. Cindy smiled and said, I'm ashamed to have your blood in my veins. I had only heard about it before and I didn't completely believe it. Seeing you today, my biological father is indeed a stupid, shameless person. She opened the car door and got in, saying, Let's go, Mom. After a moment of silence, she turned back in confusion. Anne and I were each holding a cotton candy, laughing so hard we nearly passed out, and suddenly realized something and screamed, Auntie, why did you eat Cindy's cotton candy? A few months later, I received an invitation to Leo and Sarah's wedding. Leo realized there was no hope of reconciling, nor could he win custody of Cindy. In the end, he and Sarah tied the knot. Of course I didn't go. What kind of people are they to deserve Amy's presence? I heard the wedding was simple. Sarah, an orphan with no family, and Leo's mother refused to attend. Leo had been gone for 8 years. The company was already in my pocket. Though Leo had some assets, he'd been kicked out of our social circle. People who got the invite, knowing his true story, felt disgusted. I heard in the end they barely filled one table of guests. It was the emptiest wedding the host had ever seen, and his smile was forced. Leo exchanged rings with Sarah with a sullen face. He started trying to get a position in the company, but after 8 years, things had changed. No one would back him. He begged his mother, who kicked him out. He came to me, and I had Cindy chase him away with a few words, leaving him humiliated. Desperately, he even went to Steve. That night, Steve came to me looking pitiful. Your ex-husband is threatening me. I patted his head with a smile. My marriage to Steve was a transaction. The circumstances around Leo's disappearance were suspicious. Feared if the death declaration was revoked, our marriage would be restored, meaning I'd have to divorce Leo again. So I needed someone to marry fast. Feelings didn't matter much to me. After careful consideration, I chose Steve and negotiated a business-like marriage. Steve's father favored his illegitimate child, so we agreed. I'd help Steve gain power, and he'd play the role of my husband. I wouldn't have a second kid or tolerate infidelity. If Steve wanted a child, he'd have to wait 10 years. After 10 years, if Leo hadn't returned, we'd divorce. Steve, being smart, knew there'd be gossip about marrying a woman with a kid, but he didn't care and agreed readily. Yet, he still developed inappropriate hopes. A few days later, while at work, I got a call from and at the front desk. Amy, a pregnant woman is kneeling at the company entrance asking to see you. I asked her in, but she refused. Now there's a big crowd. I chuckled. Leo really sent Sarah out. How many online channels and gossip sites would feast on this? But seriously, are they fit to face me? Call the police. Report her for extortion. Handle it well. And I'll give you a bonus from my account at the end of the month. Anne's voice filled with excitement. Got it. Thanks, Amy. A few hours later, my assistant brought into my office. It was Anne's first time reporting directly to me, and she was so excited she could barely contain herself as she thoroughly recounted Sarah's reaction. The police arrived soon enough. As soon as Sarah saw them, she got nervous. Her experiences in avoiding the police abroad made her instinctively stand up, ready to flee. The receptionist grabbed her immediately, pulling her into the police car with a bright smile and no further discussion. Sarah stammered for a long time but couldn't explain why she was kneeling at the gate. Eventually, the police called Leo and pieced together the truth from their chaotic words. Sarah was pregnant, so the police couldn't do much besides giving her a stern lecture before sending her away. After this incident, I was sure Sarah wouldn't dare come again. I was very pleased and gave the receptionist a generous bonus at the end of the month as promised. I heard that the receptionist was so excited upon receiving the bonus notification that she almost fainted and immediately took her colleagues out for a meal after work. News outlets tested the waters by posting articles about a pregnant woman kneeling at the gate, but they caused no stir. Leo tried everything he could but couldn't see me again. Like I said, who is he to think he could meet with me? I'm the co-owner of both the families, not someone just anyone can meet. Leo tried his old tricks, hoping to block me at Cindy's school gate. But he didn't know that, because of my busy work schedule, Steve was the one picking the kids up from school. Steve and Leo almost got into a fight. Cindy ended up scolding them both, and Leo never dared to come back again. Hearing this from Steve, I laughed and showered my precious daughter with kisses. Cindy only shows her childish side around me. She hugged my neck tightly, calling out to me affectionately. Steve watched us with a warm smile. Later, I found out that Sarah had given birth to an unusually fair-skinned mixed-race baby. Leo was beside himself with rage. Seeing the baby, Sarah was also shocked. Under Leo's questioning, she admitted that she had been involved with her boss while abroad but believed it was during her safe period. Leo nearly strangled the baby, but Leo's mother walked into the hospital room just in time to stop him with a sharp rebuke. Leo, teary-eyed, cried to his mother, "Mom, I was wrong. This woman is a bitch. I want a divorce." Leo's mother looked at him mockingly. "Leo, isn't this the son you were obsessed with?" Leo was nearly at his breaking point. "No, he's not my child. My child is only Cindy." With calm, Leo's mother said, "Cindy wouldn't acknowledge a father like you. It doesn't matter. She looks so much like me. She's my kid. This one is the bastard." Leo glared hatefully at Sarah. "I'll divorce you. I'll win Amy back." Leo's mother slapped him sharply. "You don't deserve Amy." Finally coming to his senses, Leo knelt and cried bitterly. Later, Leo's mother told me that Sarah clung to him persistently, forcing him to acknowledge the child. 8 years abroad hadn't dampened their feelings, but within months of returning, they were at each other's throats. Every time Leo thought about the vast wealth, it pained him. Previously, he endured for the child, but since the child wasn't his, he started domestic violence. Sarah wasn't a true damsel in distress. She fought back, but being weak from childbirth, she still lost the fights. Afraid of the police, she didn't dare to call for help. Lee told me that Leo had his lawyer friend notarize all his assets, intending to leave everything to Cindy. Leo lingered around Cindy's school for days but didn't dare to see her. Worried it would affect Cindy's life, I told Lee it was time to wrap things up. So, not long after Leo was arrested, to avoid seeing his son, he confessed to all his crimes. With solid evidence, he was quickly sentenced. After hearing the news, Leo's mother remained silent for a long moment, sighed, and continued to tease Cindy. Cindy called her granny sweetly, smiling brightly. With Leo out of the picture, I was in a good mood and invited Steve for a meal. "Let's pick a time to get the divorce certificate," I said, not even looking up as I picked up my chopsticks. This marriage no longer needed to exist. He dropped his head, seeming somewhat desolate. Finally, he said softly, "Okay." I knew he genuinely cared for me, but I didn't care. Without any financial entanglements, we quickly divorced but kept it private. Cindy knew but had no special reaction. She truly was much like me. A few days later, I saw a familiar figure by my car. Steve looked at me cautiously, trying to appear nonchalant as he smiled. "Amy, can I take you out to dinner?"